The word comes out broken, jagged, like glass cutting through years of silence. In. I freeze, my hand still on Mrs. Helena Crane's shoulder. Around us, the morning sun pours through floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. 23 floors up, a penthouse worth more than entire neighborhoods. Helena's mouth works, trembling. Her eyes, sharp and clear despite what everyone says, lock onto mine with desperate intensity. Not what? I whisper, leaning closer. Mrs. Crane, what are you trying to tell me? The door bangs open. What the hell are you doing? Damien Crane stands in the doorway, 6'3" of tailored fury. His eyes, the same ice blue as his mother's, sweep from me to Helena and back. She was trying to speak. I say steadily. I heard her. My mother hasn't spoken in 4 years. His voice could freeze water. If you're fabricating progress to keep your job, you can leave now. That makes 16. 16 maids who failed whatever impossible test he set. But I look at Helena, and I see what he refuses to see. She's not broken. She's trapped. I'm not leaving, I tell him. Not until I understand what she's trying to say. 2 weeks earlier, the agency sends me to the Crane penthouse on a Tuesday. Fair warning, Michelle from Prestige Home Services tells me. This placement has a 100% turnover rate. 2 weeks maximum before he fires them. Why? The client's mother had a stroke 4 years ago. Lost speech, partial mobility. He's particular about her care. Particular. That word does a lot of work. I need this job. My mother's nursing home costs $4,000 monthly. My brother's rehab is $3,000. I work 2 positions and still come up short. But I've been a maid for 12 years. I've seen particular. I can handle particular. The penthouse makes me rethink that confidence. Marble everything. Art that probably costs more than houses. A silence so complete it feels manufactured. The housekeeper, Mrs. Young, leads me through rooms designed by people who've never had to clean them. Mr. Crane is very devoted to his mother, Mrs. Young says carefully. Very protective. What happened to the last maid? She lasted 11 days. He said she wasn't attentive enough to Mrs. Crane's nonverbal cues. And the one before that? 10 days. Too attentive. Made Mrs. Crane uncomfortable. I stopped walking. What does he actually want? Mrs. Yang's expression is answer enough. No one knows. Helena Crane sits in a wheelchair by the windows, positioned to overlook the park. She's 71, silver hair perfectly styled, wearing cashmere despite the summer heat. A blanket covers her legs. Her hands rest motionless in her lap. But her eyes, God, her eyes are alive. Mrs. Crane, this is Grace Williams, your new caregiver. Helena's gaze finds mine, and something passes between us. Recognition, maybe, or just the weary acknowledgement of 2 women caught in someone else's system. Hello, I say, moving to where she can see me without turning. I'm Grace. Her right hand twitches. Once. Deliberate. I'll do everything I can to make you comfortable. I continue. And I promise to pay attention. Another twitch. This time, her fingers curl slightly. She's responding. The morning routine is very specific, Mrs. Young says, handing me a 3-page laminated schedule. Mr. Crane reviews the daily logs each evening. Any deviation must be documented with explanation. I skim the schedule. Every 15 minutes accounted for. Breakfast at 8 a.m., soft scrambled eggs, no salt. Physical therapy at 9:30. Classical music from 10 to 11 o'clock. Volume set to exactly 40%. Lunch at 12:30. Afternoon rest. Dinner at 6 o'clock. No variation. No spontaneity. No life. What does Mrs. Crane enjoy? I ask. Mrs. Young blinks. I'm sorry. What makes her happy? What did she love before the stroke? Silence. As if the question doesn't compute. Mr. Crane ensures she has everything she needs, Mrs. Young finally says. That's not what I asked. Damien Crane comes home at 6:47 p.m. I've seen photos. Forbes profiles, society pages. But in person, he's more intense. 42, dark hair graying at the temples, face carved from what looks like permanent disapproval. He moves through the penthouse like he's inspecting a hostile acquisition. He goes straight to his mother. Hello, mother. He kisses her forehead with what appears to be genuine tenderness. How was your day? Helena's eyes follow him. She makes no sound. Grace Williams, sir. I step forward. I started this morning. His gaze sweeps over me, assessing, cataloging, finding me probably lacking. Where did you work previously? Bright Horizon Senior Care for 6 years. Private placements before that. References? In my file with the agency. Medical training? CNA certification. CPR current. I've worked with stroke patients, dementia patients, mobility impaired clients. He nods curtly. My mother requires consistent routine. Deviation causes agitation. The previous maid thought she knew better than the established schedule. I understand. Do you? He turns to Helena's medication organizer, checking that evening doses are prepared exactly as specified. 15 women have stood where you're standing. All of them thought they understood. All of them failed to provide what my mother needs. What does she need? Wrong question. His eyes snap to mine. Structure. Stability. Professional care from someone who follows instructions rather than improvising. Each word lands like a verdict. My mother suffered a massive stroke that left her unable to communicate. She depends entirely on others to interpret her needs. That's an enormous responsibility. I won't entrust it to someone who thinks they know better than 4 years of established protocol. I want to argue. I want to say that protocol isn't the same as care. That structure without humanity is just a cage. But I need this job. I'll follow the schedule. I say, see that you do. He stays for dinner, feeds Helena himself with careful patience, wipes her mouth gently, speaks to her constantly in a low, soothing voice. And she endures it. Eyes distant, body still, like she's somewhere else entirely. After he leaves, I clean up the dinner dishes. Mrs. Yan has gone home. The penthouse settles into expensive silence. I return to check on Helena before my shift ends. She's staring at the windows, at her own reflection against the darkening sky. A tear slides down her cheek. I grab a tissue, gently dab it away. Her left hand, the one with more mobility, moves. Slow, trembling. She touches my wrist. Then she drags her finger across my palm. Once, twice, 3 times. Deliberate lines, shapes, letters. H-E-L, help. My breath catches. Mrs. Crane. But she stopped, her hand falling back to her lap, exhausted. Her eyes meet mine with terrible clarity. She's not lost in confusion. She's not mentally diminished by the stroke. She's a prisoner. And she just asked me to set her free. I don't sleep that night. I sit in my studio apartment, staring at my palm where Helena traced those letters. Help. 3 strokes that shattered everything I was told about this job. The stroke happened 4 years ago. Damien Crane, who built a tech empire worth billions before 40, quit his CEO position to care for her personally. The media called it touching, inspirational, a son's devotion. I pull up every article I can find. Billionaire steps down to care for ailing mother. Damien Crane puts family first. Photos of him leaving hospitals, looking exhausted and noble. Quotes about how nothing mattered more than his mother's comfort. But there's an earlier article. From 5 years ago. Helena Crane files complaint against son's company, alleges financial mismanagement. I read it 3 times. Helena had been on the board of Crane Technologies. She'd discovered discrepancies in how Damien was reporting revenue. Threatened to go to the SEC, demanded a full audit. The article is dated 6 months before her stroke. Then nothing. No follow-up. No investigation. Just Helena's silenced by catastrophic brain injury and Damien assuming control of her estate, her medical decisions, her life. My hands shake as I close my laptop. What if it wasn't a stroke? What if no? I'm jumping to conclusions. Strokes happen. Coincidences exist. But that word in my palm burns. Help. The next morning, I arrive at 7 a.m. with a plan. I follow the schedule exactly. Breakfast at 8 o'clock, eggs scrambled soft, orange juice diluted as specified, supplements given in precise order. Physical therapy at 9:30. I move Helena's limbs through the prescribed stretches while classical music plays at exactly 40% volume. She tolerates it all with distant eyes. At 10:15, during the scheduled rest period, I pull a chair close to her wheelchair. Mrs. Crane, I need to ask you something. If he can understand me, blink twice. She blinks. Once. Twice. Deliberate. My heart hammers. Are you being kept here against your will? 2 blinks. Yes. Does Damien know you can understand? She hesitates. Then 1 blink. No. Have you tried to communicate before? 2 blinks. Yes. What happened when you tried? She can't answer complex questions. I'm asking wrong. I grab paper and pen from the side table. Can you write? Her left hand trembles as she takes the pen. Her grip is weak, her movement uncoordinated, but she presses tip to paper. It takes 3 minutes to form 2 words, letters shaky and nearly illegible. He watching. I look up at the corners of the ceiling. Small smoke detectors. Ear vents. Are those cameras? In this room? I whisper. 2 blinks. I keep my expression neutral, my body language casual, just a maid chatting with her patient. I understand. I won't let on that you can communicate. But Mrs. Crane, I need to know, are you in danger? 1 blink. No. Relief. Then confusion. But you need help getting out? 2 blinks. Yes. Is it about money? The company. 2 blinks. The pieces shift. This isn't about physical danger. It's about control. About Helena knowing something Damien can't let her reveal. About a woman trapped in silence while her son manages her fortune and reputation. I'm going to help you, I tell her. I don't know how yet, but I promise. The front door opens. I'm on my feet instantly, shoving the paper with Helena's writing into my pocket. I grab the water glass, make it look like I was just helping her drink. Damien enters, home unexpectedly at 10:30 on a Wednesday. Mr. Crane. I keep my voice level. I wasn't expecting you. Obviously. His eyes sweep the room. What were you doing? Keeping your mother hydrated. She seemed thirsty. He checks his watch. Water isn't scheduled until 10:45. I apologize. She appeared uncomfortable, so I offered early. His jaw tightens. My mother's comfort is maintained through consistent routine, not through your interpretation of her needs. Of course, it won't happen again. He moves to Helena, examines her as if checking for damage. She sits perfectly still, eyes vacant, giving him nothing. My throat aches watching her perform this blankness. Watching her hide. I'll be working from home today, Damien announces. I want to observe your care protocols. It's a test. Maybe he suspects. Maybe one of the cameras showed something that worried him. Of course, I say. The rest of the day is excruciating. Damien works from the study but emerges every 30 minutes to check on Helena. I follow the schedule with robotic precision. I don't speak to her except to narrate care tasks. I don't meet her eyes. I play the role of the good maid, the one who follows instructions. At 6 p.m., I serve Helena dinner while Damien watches. She accepts each bite of pureed chicken and overcooked vegetables with mechanical compliance. You're more professional than the others, Damien says. Less presumptuous. Thank you, sir. The last maid kept insisting my mother was trying to tell her something. As if wishful thinking could overcome neurological damage. His voice carries contempt. My mother suffered extensive brain trauma. She has no capacity for complex communication. Pretending otherwise is cruel. I keep my expression neutral. I understand. Do you? He stands, moves to Helena, strokes her hair with surprising gentleness. People see what they want to see. They project consciousness onto involuntary movements. They mistake reflex for intention. He's not just explaining. He's warning. My mother is gone, he continues softly. What remains deserves dignity and care, not false hope. Can you provide that, Grace? The question is a trap. I can provide excellent care, I say carefully. Following your established protocols. He studies me for a long moment, then nods. Good. I'd hate to lose another mate so quickly. After he leaves, I wait 30 minutes. Then I return to Helena's room to settle her for the night. She's rigid with tension. I know you can hear me. I whisper, keeping my back to where I think the cameras might be, my voice barely audible. I know you understand. I'm going to get you out, but I need information. I help her into bed, my movements routine and professional. While tucking the blanket, I slip my phone into her left hand under the covers. There's a notes app open. Type what you can. I'll check it in the morning. Her fingers curl around the phone. I finish the bedtime routine, blinds drawn, temperature set to exactly 68 degrees, white noise machine at prescribed volume. I say goodnight to the woman everyone thinks is vacant. She blinks twice. The next morning, I arrive to find Damien in the kitchen, drinking coffee. Grace. Good morning. My stomach drops. Mr. Crane, I didn't expect you again today. I've decided to work from home this week. To ensure the transition with you is smooth. He's suspicious. He's watching. I go through the morning routine with him hovering. Breakfast, medications, physical therapy. I don't deviate by a second. I barely speak to Helena except to narrate actions. I'm going to lift your arm now, Mrs. Crane. Just relax. But when I help her to the bathroom, The one place cameras definitely aren't. I check my phone. Helena's typed message is there. Shaky letters, many typos, but readable. He changed my will after stroke. Said I was incompetent. Got doctors to sign papers. Controls everything. I tried to tell physical therapist last year. She told Damien. He fired her. Said I was agitated, hallucinating. Increased my medication. Made me too foggy to try again. My breath stops. I decreased meds myself 3 months ago. Pretended to take them. Clearer now. But he watches. Always watches. Needs someone on outside to help. Someone he can't fire or silence. I delete the message. Clear the history. I understand. I whisper. I'll figure something out. That night, I lie awake making plans. I can't go to the police. I have no proof. Just the word of a woman legally declared incompetent. I can't tell the agency. They'll pull me from the placement, and Helena will be alone again. I need evidence. I need someone with power who'll listen. I think of my brother, Marcus. 5 years into sobriety, working as a paralegal at a disability rights firm. He's helped clients escape guardianship abuse before. I call him at midnight. Grace? What's wrong? I tell him everything. Jesus, he breathes when I finish. That's guardianship abuse. If she's actually competent, and he's keeping her imprisoned using medical declarations, that's illegal as hell. But proving it. What do I need? Evidence she can communicate. Medical evaluation from an independent neurologist. Legal representation willing to challenge the competency ruling. He pauses. And you need to be careful. If he suspects you're helping her, you're not just losing your job. Men who build empires don't let go of control easily. I know. Grace, I'm serious. This could be dangerous. I think of Helena's eyes. Of help traced in my palm. I'm not walking away, Marcus. Tell me what to do. The plan takes 2 weeks to execute. Marcus connects me with Rebecca Inouye, a disability rights attorney who's built a career destroying abusive guardianships. She needs 3 things: proof Helena can communicate, evidence Damien knows and is suppressing it, and Helena's explicit consent to challenge the conservatorship. I work the angles carefully. During Damien's daily observation periods, I'm a perfect robot. Schedule followed exactly. No eye contact with Helena beyond professional necessity. No deviation. But during bathroom breaks, during the 10-minute windows when Damien takes calls in his study, I work with Helena. We practice. She types messages on my phone, slow, laborious, but clear. She tells me about the financial discrepancies she discovered, about confronting Damien, about waking from the stroke to find him controlling everything, doctors already declaring her incompetent, her voice legally erased. He told everyone I'd lost my mind before the stroke. She types one morning. Said I was paranoid, delusional. By the time I woke up, my reputation was destroyed. No one would believe me even if I could speak. What about the SEC complaint? Withdrawn. He had power of attorney. Said I was mentally unwell when I filed it. Made it all go away. My hands shake with fury. On day 12 of Damien's observation week, I make my move. I arrive at 6:30 a.m., 30 minutes early. Mrs. Young isn't there yet. Damien is still sleeping. I go to Helena's room with my phone recording video. Mrs. Crane, I need you to communicate clearly on camera. Can you do that? 2 blinks. I position the phone so her face is clearly visible. Please state your full name using any method you can. Helena's left hand rises slowly. She points to letters I've written on a board. HELENACRANE. Do you understand what I'm asking you? 2 blinks. Yes. Are you being held here against your will? 2 blinks. Does your son, Damien Crane, know you can understand and communicate? She hesitates. Then 2 blinks. Has he taken steps to prevent you from communicating with others? 2 blinks. Do you wish to challenge the conservatorship that gives him control over your life and finances? Her eyes fill with tears. 2 blinks. Emphatic. I have what we need. Rebecca Inouye files the petition that afternoon. Emergency hearing in 3 days, she tells me. Judge Martinez doesn't tolerate guardianship abuse. If Helena can demonstrate competency, we have a real shot. And if Damien finds out before the hearing, he will. He'll be served with papers tomorrow. That's when things get dangerous. She's right. Damien arrives home at 11 a.m. the next day, papers in hand, face carved from ice. Grace. His voice could cut steel. My office. Now. I follow him, heart hammering. He closes the door. You want to explain, he says softly, why I've been served with a petition alleging I'm unlawfully imprisoning my brain-damaged mother. Mrs. Crane can communicate. She's been trying to tell people for years. My mother, he says precisely, suffered a stroke that destroyed her speech centers. She has the cognitive function of a 6-year-old. Any lawyer who told you otherwise is exploiting a vulnerable woman for publicity. She's not vulnerable. She's trapped. You've been here less than 3 weeks, and you think you understand my mother's condition better than 4 years of neurologists? I understand that she's coherent, that she can make her own decisions, that she doesn't want you controlling her life. His expression doesn't change, but something cold enters his eyes. You're fired. Leave immediately. No. Excuse me. I'm staying until the hearing. You can't force me to leave. I'm named in the petition as Helena's temporary advocate. Rebecca coached me on this. As long as I'm providing care Helena has requested, he can't physically remove me without police involvement. And calling the police means publicity he doesn't want. Damien steps closer. You have no idea what you've done. I've helped a woman escape her prison. You've destroyed a carefully maintained system that kept my mother safe and comfortable. His voice shakes with genuine emotion or masterful performance. She had round-the-clock care, financial security, medical attention, everything she needed. Everything except freedom. She's not capable of freedom. He stops, collects himself. The stroke left her confused, suggestible. People like you project competency onto random movements. You're not saving her, Grace. You're condemning her to chaos. For a second, doubt flickers. What if I'm wrong? What if I've mistaken reflex for communication, seen patterns in randomness? Then I remember Helena's eyes. The deliberate blinks. Help spelled in my palm. The judge will decide. I say. Yes, Damien agrees. He will. The hearing happens on a Friday. The courtroom is smaller than I expected. Judge Martinez, a woman in her 60s with steel gray hair, presides with no-nonsense efficiency. Damien's legal team is 5 attorneys deep. Rebecca sits alone at our table, calm and prepared. Helena is wheeled in by a court-appointed attendant. She's dressed beautifully. Damien's doing, probably, maintaining appearances. But her eyes are alert, tracking everything. This is a petition to terminate the conservatorship of Helena Crane. Judge Martinez begins. Ms. Inouye, you're arguing your client is competent? Yes, Your Honor. Mrs. Crane suffered a stroke affecting speech and motor control. However, her cognitive function remains intact. She's been imprisoned by a conservatorship that deliberately suppresses her ability to communicate. Damien's lead attorney stands, a silver-haired man who radiates expensive confidence. Your Honor, this is a publicity stunt. Mrs. Crane's medical team, 4 neurologists, 2 rehabilitation specialists, have all certified her profound cognitive impairment. Her son has provided exemplary care. This petition is based on nothing but the fantasies of an overzealous maid who's been employed less than a month. I'd like to hear from Mrs. Crane, the judge says. Rebecca wheels Helena to the witness box. Sets up the letterboard. Mrs. Crane, can you tell me your name? Helena's hand moves to letters. Slow but deliberate. Helena. The courtroom stills. Can you tell me today's date? Helena spells out the month and day. Correctly. Mrs. Crane, do you understand you're in a courtroom? 2 blinks. Yes. Do you wish to terminate the conservatorship giving your son control over your medical and financial decisions? 2 blinks. Strong and clear. Damien's attorney objects. Your Honor, these could be coached responses. Random movements misinterpreted. I'm perfectly capable of distinguishing communication from reflex, counselor. Judge Martinez leans forward. Mrs. Crane, I'm going to ask you something only you would know. What was your mother's maiden name? Helena blinks once, then spells, Montgomery. The judge checks paperwork. Nods. What did you name your first dog? Bunes. Another check. Another nod. Why did you file a complaint against your son's company 5 years ago? Helena's hand trembles as she spells, Fraud. The courtroom erupts. Damien's attorneys are on their feet. Rebecca is objecting to their objections. The judge bangs her gavel. Order. Mrs. Crane, are you saying your son committed financial fraud? 2 blinks. Are you saying the stroke occurred after you attempted to report this fraud? 2 blinks. Your Honor, this is outrageous. Damien's attorney begins. Sit down, counselor. Judge Martinez's voice could freeze nitrogen. Mr. Crane approached the bench. Damien stands slowly. His face is carefully neutral, but I see the calculation in his eyes. He's deciding whether to keep fighting or cut his losses. Mr. Crane, I'm ordering an immediate independent medical evaluation of your mother. I'm also suspending your conservatorship pending investigation of these fraud allegations. Your mother will be placed in the temporary care of a court-appointed guardian. Your Honor, I'm not finished. If even half of what's implied here is true, you've committed guardianship abuse at minimum, possibly false imprisonment. I'm referring this case to the district attorney. Damien's mask finally cracks. She's confused. The stroke damaged. The only confusion here is how you thought you'd get away with this. Judge Martinez looks at Helena with something like tenderness. Mrs. Crane, you're free to go. Helena closes her eyes. Tears stream down her face. 2 blinks. Thank you. The independent medical evaluation takes 3 days. Dr. Sarah Chun, a neurologist with no connection to Damien, spends hours with Helena. Speech therapy, cognitive testing, communication assessment. Her report is unequivocal. Helena's speech centers were damaged, but her comprehension, memory, and decision-making abilities are completely intact. With proper therapy and communication tools, she can live independently. The conservatorship is terminated. The DA's investigation uncovers what Helena suspected. Damien had been systematically looting company funds for years. Helena's threat to expose him triggered a desperate plan. The stroke was real, a genuine medical event, but Damien exploited it ruthlessly. He bribed doctors to overstate her impairment. He'd isolated her from anyone who might realize she was coherent. He'd kept her medicated and controlled for 4 years. He's arrested on 12 counts of fraud and abuse. I visit Helena 6 months later. She's in a new apartment, smaller than the penthouse, but hers. She's regained some speech through intensive therapy. Words come slowly, slurred, but they come. Grace, she says when I arrive. The word takes effort, but it's clear. Mrs. Crane. I hand her flowers, lavender and roses. Call me Helena. We sit on her balcony. She's hired a new assistant, joined a stroke survivors support group, started working with the SEC to rebuild the fraud case. I want to start foundation, she tells me slowly, for people like me, trapped in silence. That's wonderful. You saved me. I just paid attention. No. She takes my hand with her stronger left grip. You believe me, when no one else would. I think about the 15 maids before me. How many of them noticed something wrong but didn't trust themselves? How many stayed silent because challenging a billionaire seemed impossible? What will you do now? Helena asks. Keep working. Keep watching. I smile. Keep believing people when they say they need help. Rebecca Inouye's firm hires me as a client advocate. I work with people trapped in abusive guardianships. I visit. I observe. I notice things. I trust when someone blinks twice or spells help when no one's watching. I've helped 7 people escape since Helena. 7 people the system declared incompetent who were just voiceless. 7 people whose families or guardians controlled them through isolation and manufactured helplessness. It's not enough. It'll never be enough. But it's something. On the 1-year anniversary of Helena's liberation, she hosts a gala for her foundation. I stand in a corner, uncomfortable in formal wear, watching Helena give a speech. Her words are still slow, still effortful, but powerful. For years, she says. For years. I was buried in my own body. Everyone saw, broken woman. No one saw, prisoner. The audience, survivors, advocates, donors, listens with rapt attention. Except Grace. Helena finds me in the crowd. She saw me. The applause is thunderous. Later, in a quiet moment, Helena pulls me aside. Damien's pleading guilty, she says. 20 years, minimum. How do you feel? Sad. Her eyes shimmer. He's still my son. But what he did? Unforgivable. I'm sorry. Don't be. You gave me truth. Better than comfortable lies. I think about that often. Comfortable lies versus uncomfortable truth. The world prefers the first. It's easier to trust the billionaire's son, to believe the prestigious doctors, to accept that the maid couldn't possibly see what experts missed. But truth doesn't care about comfort. And neither do I. If this story touched you, if you've ever felt voiceless or trapped or dismissed by people in authority, I want you to tell someone. Tell them you see what they're pretending isn't there. Tell them you believe the person everyone says is incompetent. Tell them that credentials don't equal truth, and love doesn't equal control. Be the person who notices, who asks questions, who believes. Be the person who sees the prisoner behind the patient. Be the person who makes silence speak. The maids of the world, we clean up other people's messes, yes. But sometimes, if we're paying attention, we clean up their lies too. We see what's hidden in plain sight, and we refuse to look away. That's not heroism. That's just humanity. But sometimes, humanity is exactly what saves lives. I keep a photo on my desk now. Helena standing on her own, no wheelchair, one arm raised in victory at a stroke survivor's marathon. Her smile is crooked from nerve damage, but genuine. Across the bottom, she's written in shaky letters, "You made me speak." But that's not quite right. I didn't make her speak. I just finally listened. And sometimes, that's all anyone needs. Someone to hear them. Someone to believe them. Someone to refuse the comfortable lie that people in power always tell. That silence means consent. That stillness means peace. That the person you've locked away is really the one who's lost. Helena wasn't lost. She was waiting for someone to ask the right questions. For someone to see past the diagnosis to the person. For someone to believe that where there's a will to communicate, there's a mind worth hearing. I'll spend the rest of my life being that someone. Not because I'm special, but because I remember what it's like to be overlooked, to be dismissed, to be the smallest voice in the room that everyone assumes doesn't matter. Every mate knows that feeling, but some of us decide it's not true. Some of us decide our observations count. Our questions matter. Our belief in the powerless is stronger than powerful people's lies. And when we decide that, when we stop accepting our place, everything changes. One blink at a time, one letter at a time, one truth at a time, until silence becomes speech, and prisoners become free.